I think that today we will look at, finally, this Aurora deep dive that I have been meaning to do. We're going to focus on structure, texture, instrumentation for now, okay? Trying to understand what's normal and what is more specific to individual songs. Turns out Aurora does somewhat have a style of composition, and also because that is sort of depressing, we're also going to pick up on the specific differences that make the uniqueness and the excitement there, because the excitement doesn't come from the particular formula that she uses fairly regularly. It comes from the uniqueness within those formulas. Running with the Wolves is one of the most generic Aurora songs. The only weird thing about it, I think, is that there's no chorus. Let's have a listen. So straight in there with the verse. We do have 1, 2 before we hear any words, so it's not like it's right on the beginning, but it's so fast as to be inconsequential. We can't call the first 2 beats the intro. We're straight in there with what sound like live drums, not electronic drums in this one, and ba-ba-ba-dum. What is that? Some kind of percussive synth, or it could be a bass. I guess it's a little bit of an unusual start.
Giving us a very strong 4 on the floor. Dance beats. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And we've added piano now, haven't we?
Our melody is pretty straightforward. Da 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 da. Da, 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 da. But it's actually really nicely constructed. So it goes down at the end, right, and it could go now and set up the note for the beginning again, but it doesn't do that. It goes now, more final. All 4 of those phrases are really similar to each other, ba da da, and it's really just that last note which makes the difference. Ba da 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 for the first one, ba da da da. So with a slide down on the second one, ba da da da, repeating the one we ended with for the second one, but not the same as it because we don't get that slide. And then ba da da da, we get the slide again, but it's between 2 different notes. So they're all similar, but they're all doing a slightly different thing. I think it's beautiful. That is exactly what you should do with a melody.
My heart still beats. Same thing again.
So what would you call that structurally? Would you say it's an A, A1, A2, A3? You could maybe make a distinction between whether it's based around the ah or whether it's based around the ah. And I would probably do that, so I'd say it's an AABB, even though the second B has a lot of similarity to the second A, and the first A has a lot of similarity to the first B. So it feels like an AB structure with an A and a B inside both of those that have similarities to each other. It's nice. Anyway, what do we do after the first verse? So I guess there's a little bit of an unusual thing, but it's a kind of part 2 of the verse. Keep a lot of things the same as the verse, but the melody is doing a totally different thing. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, and leaving that big open space. That's quite unusual. But we do, I guess, have the in the background as well, so not too crazy. Build. So we've got that ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, which kind of just repeats da-da-da-da-da-da-da, but it's some lower notes. So again, we have a big similarity between the 2 halves of that verse chord progression. We've added in some harmony vocals here, but they're not doing very much. It's still quite sparse. This is a pretty weird pre-chorus overall. We sort of lose quite a lot from what we had and change texture quite considerably. We've still got the harmony vocals in, but we don't have the kick drum, we don't have the lower synth. We have a bit of piano, I think, but it's soft and I guess low pass filtered, so we don't have any of that high frequency stuff. We've got a guitar doing something arpeggiated as well. Everything sort of brightens as we get to the end there. That's quite an interesting textural shift because it's taking the same instruments and then it's making them brighter, so like a that kind of thing, getting from the O sound to the E sound. And also, yeah, we've got that shh sound as we get into this next section as well. Overall, relatively short pre-chorus, but it sort of fits. We've had a lot of 4-bar sections so far in this. have obviously a chorus, right? We've got this bright sound now. The drums have come back in and we're synth-led. Very different to what we had for the verse. Arpeggiated synth. It's got this real biting sound to it, just like the Wolves. And then the melody is in two halves. That's our first half. But again, there's similarities. The da-da-da-da-da joins them both. They just have different things at the end. We've got a lot of variation using relatively simple structural elements, which I think is great. It just makes it so understandable and approachable. Whereas when you have melodies that change quite a lot, even in the same section, so like Awakening, you have the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's kind of hard to think how you actually go about composing something like that. But with this one, it isn't really. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, we've only got two notes there. And then da-da-da-da-da, we just keep that from what we just had, but we do something else afterward. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, we added a different note, we did a different rhythm, but broadly, we kept the same things going. It makes it so much more approachable. Runaway doesn't have that. Runaway is romantic and indulgent and doesn't have so much simple repetition. Seems a long way away from being composable and makes Aurora seem like quite a genius. This one makes Aurora seem much less of a genius, but in a way that actually is very exciting. It's funny, I much prefer this one. Chorus ends quite suddenly. I'm running with the... We don't get wolves anymore. We get a little fall off there. And a sudden change of texture. We're back to
Piano. Oh, are we? Let's just hear that again.
Yeah, just a bonk from the piano, and then bo-do-do-bum, which I notice now is very similar to the actual vocal melody there. Or it was in the first verse, but we're doing a different thing with the thing now. Maybe just for that one. Trick or treat. A little bit different. What would it be? We're back. Okay, we've got a thick distortion coming through from something in the reverb at the beginning of each bar here, which is fun. We're a little bit thicker, aren't we? Again, this classic escalation technique. As we go through the song, each section becomes thicker and thicker.
Little use of harmony vocals. It's very subtle and appealing. Here comes our verse 2, or verse part 2. Yeah, the same thing as before. Okay, and then we get our pre-chorus as before.
Yeah, the drums are really feeling thicker here. We've got a little bit of an extra dum da dum da. I think it's just a shaker or something, but it's adding quite a lot to the rhythm, just moving it on. And there's ambient noise there as well.
Like a train or something.
The melody in that pre-chorus is the most complicated, but even that, in the second two bars, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, we're doing more of that stuff. And a build up through that, and now we're into the second chorus.
Yeah, bright sounds, splashy synths, splashy snare, splashy, other things, cymbals.
We also get a double chorus, don't we? Double chorus. Seemingly the second chorus in Aurora songs, at least at this stage, very common to be twice as long as the first chorus. It's a cunning thing to do. It's not that common. It doesn't really happen that often, but it does happen a fair amount.
And a little bit more harmony vocals in this version.
Straight into the bridge. Now, this bridge is a little bit different to the previous bridges because we have quite a thick amount of instruments, don't we?
Drums are really present.
We've lost those super fizzy synths, but there's still a big space there that is filled with harmony vocals and bass and some other ambient noises.
Yeah, the synths are more background.
Interesting feeling because the chord is almost static, but the harmony vocals are moving elsewhere. It almost feels like the pre-chorus in terms of tune because it's got those da-da-da-da-da repeating notes.
But it's definitely something new, isn't it? And then
halfway through the bridge, we change to something softer. So I guess we could see that section as a post-chorus, but as we've never heard it before, and as we don't hear it again in the song, it makes sense that it's part of the exploration, part of the bridge area of the song. We've got a real breakdown then here to something different. A two-part bridge. Two different parts in this bridge. That's fun. Interesting though, because we've got I'm running with the wolves. So we are using material from the chorus, but this definitely isn't the chorus, is it? It doesn't feel like the chorus. It's not the same chords as the chorus. It's not the same texture as the chorus. This is a build-up texture.
We've gone down to just vocals and
Not piano this time, but that low guitar kind of thing. It's doing something like that. Some arpeggiated thing. Again, we've got counterpoint really here. We've got oh, I'm running with the oh. They're taking it in turns. It's cool. It's a good thing to do with two different melody parts. And then, of course, massive hit there. Built up, but we didn't build up enough. And so when we get to the new section, smash, everything comes in. A harmony vocals on that melody. It's really nice. You can hear we've still got that whoa in the background. So linking the bridge to the final chorus here, like we did in... I think it must have been in Awakening. It's something that comes up from time to time. An extra melody there that... really high. Lovely, all the way up to an A.
I thought this was our biggest texture.
This is more like actual polyphony, because we've got the whoos, and that's going on at the same time as the da 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 da, and then we've got this other melody sat on top, all the way up. Yeah, top D. Nope. Not quite as high as that. Nice. Very happy with that. Yeah, D. Really high. That's actually something that you get in choruses from show-off singers, where basically the final chorus, they're done with singing the main tune. They do something exciting on top of it. But we haven't heard it previous to this, really, have we? So it's not a classic Aurora thing to do. It's more of a classic song thing to do. There is a certain amount in Aurora's discography which is just trying out different song styles. Not a vast amount, but there is some of that. So in that way, it's not a classic Aurora style. And we just end with that echo of that chord, which is fairly common for us. And it doesn't end, I'm running with the wolves. Again, we do the same thing we did in previous choruses. I'm running with the... And then it ends just holding that on.